Ergo,
Ergo, we are all here.
let us begin.
Come on up.
So my wife is trying to pacify the baby because her schedule, she wasn't compliant. So,
I'm sorry, we can't have a public hearing without you.
Without the baby present.
Validates it.
Given that you came off a transatlantic flight and to the HDRB meeting with your baby last time,
yeah, it's-
you get an automatic approval. Thanks.
Thank you all, actually, thanks for rescheduling us. Slipped over, did not.
Not to worry.
Okay. Little explanation of how public hearings work. We will let you present the changes that you're making to the public.
Hi.
Come on, you gotta play the part. That's right. Then we'll let them take a look at the documents, and then we'll take comments from the public, and then we'll take a vote on the application.
Okay.
So with that, why don't you explain to everyone what you're proposing?
Sure. So we recently purchased the little workers' cottage on 7 Market Street. This is the picture of it from being maps from, I don't know, a few years ago. It's in, disrepair. It's in rough shape. So our intention is to refurbish most of the existing structure, attempt to bring it back to something period. And in addition to that, so the house is a 2-story cottage, the original mass, and then there's a shed kitchen off of the back of it. And we would like to, so it's 2 stories in the front and 1 story in the back. And we'd like to turn the 1 story in the back to 2 stories, so thereby making 2 stories the entire structure. So on the second page, we sort of narrativized that. So the first item is the addition. So the addition will be a reverse gable that lines, I guess that means, at a T with the existing roof bridge, but also at the same height as the existing roof bridge, which will require that the chimney that exists already in the back of the house, there is a picture of the back of the house, with, unbeknownst to him, with our home inspector in the picture. But
I
there-
wondered who that guy was when you showed
yeah,
the picture
yeah,
last week.
Dale Robin, he's wonderful. But so that chimney will have to come up in order to meet code over the addition. There will be new windows added on to the rear structure. So that it says 5 new windows, so that'll be 1 triple casement window, which will over the upstairs bedroom. I don't know if you can show elevations either now or when we go, or it's just going through the narrative. Or should I be presenting this? Okay.
Yoshigi was really teasing.
I know. And then the question for, the sort of open question for the exterior is how to, what to do with the siding and the trim. And we don't know what the existing siding underneath that asphalt siding looks like, really. We haven't, because we haven't been approved, so we can't pull it off. But once we pull it off, the intent is to match the addition siding and trim to what is existing. So that's the addition. And then the rest of the renovations are largely, I think I was using the term to revitalize. So bring back to life a lot of the house that doesn't feel that way. So that means replacing the entire roof with asphalt shingles. And there was a question last time as to the pitch on the, and I spoke to the designer, and as it's designed, it's almost 2.5 in 12. So I talked to the housing contractor. He said with and I actually have a cut sheet for this, but with some, what's it called, snow and ice guard.
Right.
Underneath that, the shingles could be under warranty. So we would still try to keep asphalt shingles on the addition as well.
Okay.
But deferring still, I think. So, and then add a 6-inch eave to the entire roof. Replace the front gutter, which in the first picture you can see I think it's even fallen off more than it is in that picture. But replace that with a 5-inch aluminum gutter. Remove all the asphalt siding that's on the house. Underneath is wood siding, that's clapboard. So repair that ideally, and repair the trim that's there ideally. If that's sort of to be determined with the contractor. Otherwise, the idea would be to replace it with 6-inch cedar clapboard and 5.5-inch cedar trim. But that's really going, the attempt is to match what's there. As far as the windows go, repair the sills on the front of the house. The rear of the house, there are only those two little, I don't know, I'm missing the term right now. The two little, the picture windows, but those are gonna have to come off. But for the front of the house, repair the existing sills. Also repair the front door. The front door is non-conforming, so we're planning to keep the front door, but just repair it, as well as the window trim. Just repair that. Replace the front storm windows, and this, it's not with double track aluminum, it's with those one piece that they make, it's Putnam County windows. I don't have a cut sheet for them because they're custom, but we discussed last time.
They were the windows of this
Oh,
fine
perfect.
woman's house we were talking about.
Yeah.
Your lift on
Oh.
off storms, the single piece.
Yes, ideally.
So they'll
the
be
front of the
wood?
house, they'll be, yes, wood.
Who makes them?
Putnam County windows.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they're right around the corner.
Tyler.
This is in Tyler, yeah.
Yeah.
So wood, single. Remove a little storm, and then you'll have screens that you
Yes.
swap out with.
Precisely.
Do they tip out, or will they come off
They'll
completely?
come off completely. We just have little joiners. She described it to me. She sent me pictures, but they were not really useful. So then, this also includes installing a single period sconce, which we didn't print out the cut sheet for.
Say that again? A
The,
what?
the single period sconce
Oh.
on the front of the house. So I don't have an image of that, which is unfortunate. I can describe it for you. So then, and in the rear of the house, there's a sliding door with access to the deck from the kitchen. We'd like to convert that to a triple casement window that matches the width dimensions of the upstairs triple casement, the bedroom. The height will be different, actually shorter because it will be over a kitchen counter. So we do have cut sheets for those. And then the last item is to install one new casement window in the rear facing downstairs bathroom, which is to the left of the back of the house of that door. So that's most of the narrative. We have elevation drawings to sort of show.
What are you thinking of the gutter in terms of shape? It's a K gutter there now, right?
Yeah.
I support restoring that cute little house. I have to go.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thanks for coming by. Keep up the good work.
Is that on the record?
I guess so.
We were just thinking of also using a K gutter, but unless you have input.
I would advocate for either a square gutter or a half round gutter. Aluminum.
I don't know, can you get aluminum half rounds?
I have aluminum.
My house does not have gutters on it, so. I don't know if it's- All of my windows are around.
Okay.
You're talking about on the front?
On the front, yeah. I mean, it should be super simple because
Yeah.
it's a super simple house, but
Of course.
something that's either box or
Yep.
half round would be great. Do you need a pen?
If you don't mind. Left in the
Yeah.
car with baby. So,
What are you gonna do? Carolyn's usually the gutter and leader person that's stealing her fire. So you've got such limited how are you gonna get the water away from your foundation here?
great question.
Well,
Because it doesn't, right now, actually.
well, you've got a grassy area. Think about
There is a
it
grass
here.
area between, in that easement.
Can you discharge onto somebody else's?
Well, it might not be somebody else's, it might be village property.
It actually, it does belong to the neighbor, but it's an easement.
That's the side that has the easement for you to
Yes.
cross to the backyard.
Yes.
Well,
I'm trying to look at what the.
it's not essential. It sounds like you're
No,
saying, just because
right.
it's not on the drawing, but you're saying, I mean, it's not essential to the discussion tonight. You're
Okay.
saying that you're gonna have a gutter in the same location on this facade, and you're gonna come down in the same place, and then you're just gonna need to think about how you get as much of it
Right.
away from you,
Right.
from the building as you can. Are you putting gutters on the back?
Yes.
Same, so to match?
Same.
Well, they have to be on the sides.
On the sides of the.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, you know, what I get excited about is thinking about how to collect or use that gray water. What?
I love rain barrels.
Yes.
I love rain barrels. Can't speak for anyone else.
Well, I guess the question really is that without cutting a hole in the building, how do you collect? Therein lies the problem. But that, and also, I'm not totally sure, you probably had more luck with collecting the water in the back than the front.
You'd have more space for a barrel too.
Yeah.
We can always tuck a barrel underneath the porch, underneath the back deck.
Good thinking.
So it looks like the windows that are on the primary facade are 2/2s, but it
Yes.
looks like what the gen welds you're proposing are single.
There's single. we
These
have-
are mostly casement, right?
Right, they're all casement, actually, we discussed that in the workshop. That was sort of to your suggestion to not have, right, because the dimensions are different. So that's why we changed to single. However, I mean, I don't know if that's even, if this needs to.
Okay,
Yeah.
so in the front, it's a double hung window?
Yes.
Okay. And is it 1/1? I mean,
It's
that's-
2/2, the picture doesn't reflect the 2/2. The storm windows sort of that are on there right now kind of block.
Okay.
Yeah, the
Well,
front
you're
windows.
keeping the existing windows in the front.
Keeping the existing windows in the
Right,
front.
that's not
Adding
changing.
gutters numbers.
Right,
So you're only replacing the bottom windows?
not even replacing them, no. All of the windows in the front are staying. So the picture should be 2/2.
It's red pen.
Um, Are the existing windows going to be refurbished or anything like that?
They're in good shape. I mean, refurbished, yeah, I mean, they're going to be
Stripped and
stripped and
painted.
repainted. The sills are going to be repaired as needed, but the sills are also very, I mean, all of the, what they call the sill weights, those iron, sash weights.
Sash weights.
Those are all the cables are still connected.
It's really surprising.
Okay, so existing window and door to remain.
Yes.
And the existing door in the back remains too?
Yes. We don't really know what, it has like plywood that's,
That's
over
right.
it, so it's
More.
all, and on the interior, it's all plastered over also, so we don't actually know what but because it's also non-conforming,
Mhm.
I think we're going to keep it for the time being.
You can always come back when you've figured out what you wanna do.
Okay.
You also have a basement door in the back.
We do.
It just isn't drawn in here, that's all.
Okay.
How about the railings? We haven't talked about railings on the
deck?
back, yeah.
I mean, my immediate plan, so immediately was to, I mean, they're moldy right now. The decking of the deck is also starting to wet rot, so for the time being, I was going to just seal them and repaint them, and then ideally next summer, replace the entire deck, but that wasn't going to be a project for, this is just for the future. I mean, there's also, because it's oil heat, the oil tank is underneath the deck, so, in the near future, we're discussing switching to propane, and/or moving the oil tank into the basement. I'm talking with Downey about that, so as to free us up with the deck design.
So for now, you're repairing what's in place.
Repair, I mean, basically, it just has mold, but it's fairly soft.
So on the back, all of the windows are new.
Yeah.
The door is existing.
The doors.
And to remain.
Yes.
So the chimney on the back side now
Mhm.
is parged, right?
Is that what's-
It's
Stucco-
block with stucco over it?
stucco.
Yes,
Okay, so, but most of it's gonna be interior now?
yes.
And you are having to come up as
Yep.
needed. So what are you planning to do for material at the top?
I mean,
What if
brick-
what's exposed?
brick masonry, it's gonna be.
So exposed brick. You have a plan for a cap?
No, good question. I haven't talked with the mason or chimney person yet. But I got maybe a few suggestions.
There are a number of varieties around the village. You could also commonly see a sort of a couple of courses of bricks at the corners with a slab of stone on top.
So that's sort of how it is right now.
So there you
So
go.
just do that. Okay,
Yeah, that should be, probably reuse that same
okay,
piece of slate.
great.
And on the side, I'm sorry, Sean, on the side it's cinder blocks.
Yes.
What's the plan there?
So that's not attached to anything right now. That was, it's cinder blocks with like the terracotta floor,
Mhm.
6-inch squarish floor that was used, I think, for, it was a coal stove, was in the middle. Or one of those sort of, whatever. But the plan also is to keep that. The top is crumbling, it's gonna be repaired with the same, actually, the idea would be to keep it with the same cinder block design. We would like to hook back up to that. Our contractor says it's not impossible. Drawing a stainless steel liner down it, and then putting, wood fire stove on the ground floor. And so we don't know where the flue actually attached. because we haven't put that double water.
Plan on the outside is to repair the cinder block.
Repair the cinder block at the top. Yeah, the part that's cool. The rest of it is actually fairly sound. It's just, it's basically from the top of the roof up, like 2 or 3 feet. That's really rough.
You mentioned that you're thinking about going onto propane from oil.
Yes.
So if you were to do that, this chimney that's in the back is just for your oil burner, right?
Yes.
If you were to move into a propane system, you don't have to have a chimney.
Right.
I'm simply throwing that out there as a way of,
If it's
I
necessary.
would compare the cost of getting a new propane furnace to the cost of rebuilding a chimney and losing floor space.
Right.
It is a big chimney too.
I mean, I converted from oil to propane, and it was not hugely expensive.
Yeah. That's.
Plus you're burning propane instead of oil. So I would throw that out there early in the process, because you may, if that is the case, you might not even have to worry about extending the chimney and
Okay.
everything else.
Well, then
That has no
that
bearing on
was-
approval or
Well,
denial, but.
this is coming also, like, that was an asterisk because it's still an ongoing conversation with the boss.
Right.
And so, you know,
Sure.
but good to know. I don't know if that slows us down, possibly.
Well, it would be, if you changed your mind and decided to proceed, that would be a modification to an
Okay,
approval. So
okay.
it wouldn't start, for us, it wouldn't start the process all over
Okay,
again.
okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I don't know if, I mean, I don't really consider the back chimney to be have any sort of defining characteristic
No.
of the building, you know, especially too, I mean, if you are gonna be keeping the side chimney, and if that's the one which could eventually become functional again,
Right.
as a nice
Right.
plume of smoke. I don't know, something to think about.
Thank you.
I don't know what, I just know how tight your floor space is inside, that's,
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you.
Okay, the 3 different window sizes.
Yeah.
You've got aside from the 3 long ones at the top are this
No.
one, which is the 48-inch.
48-inch tall.
Right, that's that one.
That was actually supposed to be 28.75 with not 24.75. So, on that, sorry,
Okay.
the 48-inch
Yeah.
one.
And then all the rest are the same height.
Yep. So yeah, the upstairs windows would, except for the.
Well, okay, because you do have a 24.75 times 48, and then you have a 28.75. And it looks like the upper windows are taller than the windows at the bottom.
Correct. Yeah, the downstairs windows, I don't know why this, mine was.
Are all of them supposed to be 28.75?
In width? Yeah, all the windows on that side of the house are supposed to be 28.
So this one really is out of the back.
So which, is that the 24?
Yeah.
That one is for the window that is here. So it matches this one in height, but there are only 26 inches between where the balcony would be and where the chimney is.
All right.
So that's where that.
Right.
Okay.
I guess the only other, see if we can convince you on this, because I think that once you take the clapboard off, I think that the gutter being in copper would be very nice. And I don't think it's going to be that much more expensive than aluminum.
Okay.
Only reason I say that, it's a a straight run, 1 liter, and otherwise the front of the house is essentially back to its original as far as we can figure appearance.
Right.
I think it would be a nice touch. Okay.
Well, we can approve a
I'm
metal
not-
gutter, and then you have
I'm
some
not-
flexibility.
I'm not unconvinced.
Okay.
I haven't, I looked at this, and I was like, but I am absolutely ready to do some research.
Okay. All
The-
right.
To me, the
We'll
shape
leave it.
is, the
We'll-
shape, sorry.
We'll cross out aluminum and call it a metal gutter.
Okay,
Better.
thank you.
To me, the shape is more important than getting rid of that K gutter and getting something
Sure.
that's round or square would make a big improvement in whatever metal you can fit in your budget.
I know you're saying that removing asphalt siding, repairing wood siding, and trim underneath if possible. Since we don't know whether there is trim at the corners.
Right.
Right, and it's not shown in the drawings, do we want to make a note of that? I mean,
No,
I
it's not
presume
shown.
you would have trim at the corners.
Yes, we would have trim in the corners. I just thought, unless this is ornamental, I thought that they had put the asphalt over and trim those there.
Rough.
There might be, who knows?
Yeah, I mean.
Possibly.
Yes. we-
Well, I guess,
Sorry.
so, but your plan is in fact to have corner boards.
Yes,
So if we draw corner
Yeah.
boards in the proposed elevation,
yeah. And that is the plan. I'm sorry with the drawing.
And then the first half.
I guess also in the back, corner board?
Yes. Yep.
All four corners.
And how are we feeling about the elevation of 6 inches? We're adding,
Oh, I thought that was the next thing.
oh, I thought you said that you want, oh no, you're adding an eave.
Yes. I didn't
I
use-
think that way, not
Yes,
this way.
sorry. Got
And
it.
a 6-inch skirt board.
Yes.
I asked you the same question last time, sorry.
Okay, anything else?
I can't think of another thing. It's a simple house, it was, you know.
It's
No,
simple
I
house
mean,
that's-
this is the presentation for the public.
Oh,
Any comment from the, well, we do have a comment
Yes, so we're, for the record,
for the reference,
S.
Stephanie endorsed
Hawkins,
it.
15 Academy Street, gave a statement of support for the application. What did you say about skirt board, Carolyn?
And it's simply on the front, first photo, it says installing 6-inch skirt board and sidewalk, or 2 sidewalk.
I thought I heard something else, okay.
Okay.
It's 5 Market Street or 7 Market Street?
7, that was just.
That's just a marker. That's a Datenschutzprogramm mit diesem Bild melden.
Yes, that's
That
right.
means there's a data problem with these
Pictures.
pictures, reporting. Okay.
Wow, your German
Yeah.
has served you over the years,
No.
Chairman.
Every now and then I recognize some words here. Okay, so with that, we'll close the public hearing, having received one comment. So, any other questions or comments from the board?
I think that it's a very necessary and faithful update to the building. It seems, from a proportional standpoint, it seems like a significant change to add, a quarter, 25% to the rear elevations, but it's in keeping with the scale of the building. It's smaller than anything else on the block, even with the addition, so it certainly is not going to detract at all from the neighbors, and it's saving it from the wrecking ball. So I'm into it.
I am into it as well, for the record. I've been waiting for someone to love this house, and I'm delighted that it's you, and you're taking such care. Thank you for working with us.
Well, thank you.
Wish you well.
Wait till the child
Okay.
grows.
But then you know what he'll have? He'll have a saleable property.
It's, yeah.
All right, so here's the application. We'll move this along. So the application is submitted, the front facade, existing windows and doors to remain. Clapboard is going to be restored one way or another, right? And so we're adding corner boards, existing deck on the back remains. So that is the application. Do I have a motion to?
Did we do secret?
No, we did not.
We didn't? Okay. Do I have a motion to circuit secret?
I move that this be declared type 2 because it's basically renovations and additions to a single-family residence.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Do I have a motion to accept the application as amended?
I will move to accept as amended.
And I will second it.
Okay. All
Aye.
Aye.
right.
Aye. You arrived just in time.
Well, that was nice.
We just convinced them to do
Yeah.
all sorts of things that weren't
Yeah,
in the
right,
budget.
so we have a little talking.
You're gonna love it.
But you'll love it, you'll love it.
Sometimes happens that when you get started on the work, you find things you didn't expect. So you know where to
Yes.
find us if you need to
Did you
modify
mark up
things.
yours?
Of course.
I did not.
Thank you.
One
Sure.
okay?
You have to think about the chimney together.
Yeah. Which is
Some good
actually
ideas
great.
put
It's a great
forward.
thing to- Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's, again, I don't know what your masonry budget is for extending it that
Do
much
I-
further, but,
Yes.
Folder?
also you're gonna save,
Here's the
you're gonna
file.
save a lot of money on oil.
Yes, I know.
Folder for
As
Al.
far as,
We'll have the
Kathleen too,
referral.
when you guys came to visit.
For you?
Like I slept in the house that night, and I
Mm.
was like, I'm lightheaded.
Well,
Very usually I like it.
Good,
Yeah,
you
they
can go
kinda-
there.
Who knows why, but.
Because this is the light fixture.
Yes, it was,
Oh.
this was the one that we were.
So we've got it.
So that-
Do we,
This
should
one
we
here?
take a
Yes.
separate vote on the light fixture since it was not?
The lower left.
I mean, it's
Sure.
noted on
The description of it?
no, it's noted on the elevation, adding single period sconce.
Okay, so we already
We are.
had seen the cut, so it just
Okay.
goes in.
Okay.
Just goes in.
Thanks.
And these are now, these are the old window versions. Yeah. There's your referral.
Okay, and applications. Where's the original application?
And Mary's been stamping them all, so it doesn't matter which one you take.
Because also do we, notifications?
Oh, yes.
of the-
Did
of
you
the
bring your
neighbors?
certified receipts?
Or drop them off at the village.
Or mail them to the village clerk. So I'm gonna note that you need them. So I know that we talked about it, we
Yeah,
talked
and
about
I
it
have
yesterday, and
them,
you confirmed that you
Yeah,
have
I
them.
have them. I have them. So, yeah, yes, what?
Uh,
Well,
There was someone earlier.
nobody who we wrote.
You know what, that, take that to mean everyone's delighted that you're fixing up the house.
Upset
Okay.
about it.
So,
Happens to be Cold Spring's first lady.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's who your approval came from. That's who your endorsement came from.
okay, so applicant requested to submit
Yes.
certified mail receipts
Yeah,
to clerk.
yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
So this is to go back in?
Mhm.
Okay, so, Thomas, this is going into the awaiting certificate of appropriateness, consolidate file when received.
Right.
I think we got it now, the system.
Okay,
Thanks.
that's it. You're
Cool.
done.
Thanks.
Lots
Thanks
of
very
I'll
much. Thanks very
process,
much.
over the weekend, I'll process the certificate of appropriateness and sometime next week they'll mail it.
Ah, well, you should, so while you're here,
Yeah.
so the building department for the village and the town were consolidated
Okay.
in the last week. They are being consolidated, they were voted to consolidate. Today was the building inspector's last day.
Right.
The clerk is in process of figuring out how that transitions up. So there may be a delay while whatever is
Right.
needing to be processed gets moved up and gets delayed. I mean, gets delayed.
I thought everything was, I thought all the physical files were still staying here.
They are still working out details. There will be copies here, but the actual transmitting the work in progress from one body to another needs to happen, and that's happening now,
Okay.
and none of us are exactly sure how that's going to work.
Okay.
So the clerk is your primary contact
Okay.
until we have that sort of smoothed out. But Jeff will take care of you and
Okay.
make sure you have what you need.
Great.
And that is the new clerk is Jeff Vidakovich.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Actually, is there any reason why he couldn't come a week? Well, I guess it really doesn't make any difference because the thing that you need now is a permit.
Right.
And we still need to go through zoning,
Okay.
so we're meeting with them. We
So
missed
you're not
last
getting a
week.
building permit anytime soon anyway? Well, I mean, immediately is what I
Right,
mean.
right.
Yeah.
Not by the end of the week.
Not by the end of the
But,
week.
That was what I wanted to ask, and I don't know how much you can tell me about this, but I wanted to ask Bill before, I didn't know, I got the email that today was his last day as well.
Uh-huh.
And what I wanted to ask him was, now that at least our engineer can start finally doing construction plans, because we have this, certificate of appropriateness done, because there's a lot of work that we don't need permits for, like, that's what he said, or Bill had said, that only send me the thing, only send me no, I'm not gonna say it right, because I feel like I'm not gonna say it right, but for structural work, you need a building permit. So does that mean that cosmetic work can be done in the meantime until the building permit is issued, or?
Ultimately, the person
saying?
who's gonna have to sign off is now Phillips now.
Yeah,
What I would do is talk to him,
okay,
because, he's the one that's gonna walk in and say, check the things, so.
okay,
And there is actually a clerk. So one of the advantages of doing this is that there is building staff 5 days a week now. So, and there's an assistant inspector as well. So there is a clerk in that office if you
Okay.
call the town of Phillipstown.
okay,
And that clerk is a former clerk of this board, so she knows how historic district stuff works.
okay,
So,
okay.
right, Linda? So,
So,
there will be
That's-
something of a
Right.
connection going
Right.
forward. We just
Okay.
don't know, we haven't been told exactly how it's all working yet.
okay, great.
But you mean things like taking off the siding or working on the door or?
Right, like we've been hesitant to even do demo because we didn't know what we would finally be approved to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would worry that, demo that
Yeah.
affects the exterior.
Yeah,
But, and on the interior, demo if you're just stripping out sheetrock and stuff
Right.
like that.
right.
I don't know where you'd put a dumpster.
We talked to the clerk, you have to put it across the street. Bill said that actually.
Okay.
Put it across the street. Just get permits for that. Okay. Super.
All right.
Thanks. Thank you for coming out also.
Of course.
Sorry about last week.
We can't wait.
Got
Regarding
away
your
from us.
deck,
Yeah,
when you come back and we approve it and everything, your C of A is valid for a couple of years, so you don't have to get it a
Okay.
couple of weeks before you want to do the work. Fence and deck guys usually get booked up really early in the spring, so I wouldn't put that off too far. If it's something
Okay.
that you want to have for next summer, then
right.
you
Get
should
on it.
try to come see us in December or
Okay.
January.
Okay, thanks.
And simply amend the existing.
Right,
Well, it would be in a whole new application,
right,
because it wasn't included on this one.
right,
Yeah.
okay.
But, and then if for any reason you need to put it off for money or anything else, it lasts for 2 years? See that?
Okay.
No, you have 2 years to pull a permit, and then you have to do it within a year.
Yeah, so you'd have plenty of time
Okay.
to
Super.
get it done.
Thank
I don't
you.
want us to hold up
No.
that.
Thanks.
Great,
Okay.
congratulations.
All right.
Oh, thanks very much. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you guys around.
Thanks,
Yeah, sure,
guys.
yeah.
Take care.
Congratulations.
All the meetings. She's
She'll be
like,
in
what
touch.
is going on?
Yeah, right? Why aren't we asleep?
What's the baby's name again?
Rosalie.
Rosalie.
Rosalie May.
All right.
Right?
See you soon. You and your dog.
All right, thanks again.
Bye. Good
Okay,
luck.
good night.
There are a couple of pieces of correspondence. I gave you the one that had your name on it, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
which is completely mystifying to me why that.
These are, you have a code book at home, right?
No.
Oh, well,
One
there's some
time
code
she-
updates that were
One
left
time
for
Mary
you.
collected it and I never got it back.
And you never got it back. Okay, well,
Does anybody have a code book?
Nope.
I never got one. I was never given one. I was told that you had one, but I'm remembering this from a couple of years ago. So give it back to Jeff.
Yeah, because the code book that I had was never returned.
So,
And there's really no reason because it's on the website.
right, and it seems sort of wasteful to keep. Anyway.
Because we're gonna submit our zoning board appeal right now. If we were to leave it, can we leave it? for
So,
them?
there's a secret box.
Oh. So
You- If you open the board that has people's names on it, you pull that out, like,
Okay.
as if you're taking it off the wall, there's a zoning board box in there.
Okay.
Okay. So, Mary finished yesterday. Very sorry. There was a party for her on Friday at Yankee Barbecue. Jeff is now full on. Bill's last day was today. Jeff and I went through today. Bill gave a report of everything he was working on, so we went through and pulled out what we are done with from our end for C of A. And so now Jeff knows what's done with us and what needs a building permit, and he knows what are applications in the pipeline that we've been workshopping with. I don't know how this is gonna work.
21 Market Street. Or
Oh,
actually,
yes, 21 Market. Did you
I-
find it?
I didn't look because I didn't.
21 Main. It's
21
one market
Main.
or 21, it's been listed both ways, and that was one of my questions for you, is did you have it, so this is Rincon Argentino, it's back
Mhm.
before the planning board.
Mm-hmm.
He came to us, I think you were on the board then, for a fence.
For the fence.
But, now there is a dining area.
Yeah.
So, we are looking for a certificate of appropriateness. It's unclear if this is one of those where the original file went off to be scanned and a small bit was left behind. So I asked Al to look for the C of A.
I have the town of Forest now. West Point Foundry Preserve,
I think it went off your stand.
the mechanicals enclosure.
I know we approved, the minutes record us approving it,
Yeah,
but
well,
I
I
don't
think
have
that
the certificate's not in the file.
I think I put that folder in the box.
Oh, well, that's useful to know. So Al,
So when do I scan stuff coming back from?
I have no idea. I have no
A
idea.
Because
while.
I thought she said a few weeks ago that it was 6 weeks.
I remember that as well, but I don't know for sure.
Oh, I thought it was like
So
6
Jeff
months.
requests that if you would, when you prepare a C of A, if you would save a copy and transmit a copy to him electronically.
Okay, I mean, I prepared the C of A electronically, so there's really no reason I can't send him the ones that I am drawing off. So I guess.
Okay. So you
Well,
don't
I
have
don't
this one
have it. I don't
electronically?
have it.
You don't have it electronically?
I may have it electronically, but it wouldn't have my signature. It would just be.
That's true.
The Word version.
So you could sign them, scan them, and send Jeff the scanned one?
But,
No, I don't mean for this one, I mean going forward.
well, no, I mean, typically, how about if I just send them the Word file? Because
long as it's-
ultimately, if I scan it, then the one that he has without the backup material is useless, because all it is just the form.
So there are a couple of options. You could send it to him and say, these are the certificates that I am delivering by hand on Monday morning, the following. So he's got a copy of it Sunday. You could also do a scan of your signature and do an electronic application of your signature. You don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that because it still is useless without the backup.
Backup. Okay, I understand. As long
So-
as he has something to say, he wants an electronic copy that in cases like this, he can pull to say it was issued.
Okay. Well, I mean, the
Or it was
problem
delivered
is
back to Village
that,
Hall. This shouldn't be a problem for much longer because we're now building our files again.
yeah, I mean, realistically, I think the problem is that I dropped them off, and then Michael didn't know what he was supposed to do with them.
This is one of the ones from the beginning of the time when I think either we were between Michael and Linda or Michael was just starting.
Right.
And also there were questions about this approval for a long time of what work that was done. Remember, we were back and forth with Bill about it. The challenge right now is that they are before the planning board.
Mhm.
What I think
What's
what
this
is happening is that what he's saying is approved is different than what we actually approved. The planning board would like to see his C of A. These pictures came after our approval when members questioned work that was done beyond the fence.
Okay, well, this is the application.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the referral.
And that's the, and because it's in single copy, it makes me think that,
Well, okay, I can take this, and if I can figure out from, well, the file, the
it was
electronic.
June 2016. Don't take it, because this is the only copy we have of anything.
Well, then how do I recreate the approval? I mean, the approval.
We want to know that we issued it before you recreate it. We need to know for sure that it was actually issued. The minutes say it was approved. We need to know that the approval was issued or not, the certificate was issued or not. Because what I'm saying to you is, right after we approved this, other work happened, and the board communicated with Bill to say, that's not work we approved. I don't know if you held the certificate until the rest of that work was looked at. So that's what we need verification of. Was it actually issued or not?
Okay, well, I wouldn't be able to tell that because the only thing I would have is a Word file of the form.
Okay.
So I don't know if
Can you communicate with Matt? Because I'm in the middle between you guys,
all right.
but please don't leave it. We can make copies of it.
All right, and we'll make copies of it, so this
At the end.
what the hell
Okay.
we're looking at. Okay,
Okay.
so let's talk about first village attorney.
What about the village attorney?
Okay, isn't that what we're talking about, the ordinance revisions?
Oh, Carolyn,
Oh,
we have ordinance revisions that we need to make. And Carolyn, you sent
Is this mine? Oh.
an email the other day about compiling his comments. It's just a matter of finding time to sit down and put them in, if anybody has free time to take the last version and put them in.
Well, okay, but then does it have to be submitted to the Board of Trustees?
Yeah, he needs to go back to the trustees with his changes incorporated.
All right. Can you recap what you said?
Well, that's about demolition in particular, right?
Well, but these are
Well,
all
I
the
mean-
comments, right?
Yeah, these were, he had 5 comments,
Right.
and what his comments are referring to is the notations in the margin that we had. Basically, he had no other comments as far as I could tell on the document. One of the questions was do we need to go to the Board of Trustees if we enter into a contract with escrow money? And the answer was yes. So there's like one line that we can take out of the powers and duties of the review board. In terms of signage, the question was, can we ensure that the property owner is required to maintain the condition and visibility of individual landmark signs? And his response was, you can include language within the code about the property owner being required to maintain the condition and visibility of individually landmark signs. But we have no individually landmark signs, but if we did have individually landmark signs,
It was also about not counting the landmark sign in the calculation of total
Yes,
square
that's right.
footage or signage.
yes.
Well, actually, we do, because one Main Street has a plaque, which is a landmark sign.
No, what that means is, if you were to individually landmark, for example, the hanging painter, or, I don't know, the monkey on the pizza shop.
Okay.
I'm not saying that these are worthy, I'm just pointing out examples of individual signs.
Okay, but why is that not the same thing for the plaque?
Well, the
There's-
plaque itself
there's
is
a
not
metal
landmarked. The
plaque
plaque
itself
itself
isn't
is not
landmarked.
landmarked individually.
Oh, okay, you're talking about landmarking a sign.
Yes, that says,
That's
like,
right.
like the Palin's sign.
Yeah, so if we were to say that the,
Can't cover it, can't.
or the potbelly stove on the side of the Foundry Cafe was landmarked independent of the building being inside the landmark district.
As an individual sign landmark.
So all we would need then is to review whether the word sign is in our list of whatever we call them, improvements or resources or whatever the final word and definition was.
I think it is in our definitions, but the question here was, how can we ensure that the property owner is required to maintain the condition and visibility of an individually landmarked sign? And maintaining the condition is not like maintaining the condition of anything else, I would imagine.
Right.
So the visibility, can he cover over such a landmarked sign,
Or
for example?
Or put it away, put it in the basement, something like that.
Yeah,
And
right.
what was the answer?
And you can include language being required to maintain the condition and visibility of individually landmarked signs. The building inspector will have to enforce. Maybe take a picture of sign and prepare a report once landmarked, question mark?
Okay, well.
So he's saying yes, we
Yeah,
just
he's
need
saying
to
yes.
say what we want the world to be.
Right. Okay.
Which
And
I
he-
think is
And he
something.
made no comment on that square
And-
footage thing.
Well, earlier he did, and I think that we incorporated that already.
Okay.
But we don't
That was-
consider, I mean, the Palin's sign is not calculated as part of the signage for that
No, it was not.
building.
But John first just wanted to make sure that that was clear.
Right.
That a property owner would not be penalized for too much square footage beyond the allowable amount if they were asked to keep a landmark sign. He just wanted to be really
Right.
clear.
But I also, yes, but we should also be aware of how we would address, I can't think of an example in the current streetscape, but were we to landmark a sign of an active business, whether or not then that gives them an equal amount of additional signage space that they can add to the building.
And my question is that shouldn't we also ask the planning board to weigh in on this? And
You mean the
zoning?
ordinance?
Yeah, because essentially we're granting somebody a waiver from the signage, the zoning ordinance.
I don't know why we couldn't, I mean, this is gonna be provided to the other boards to comment on anyway.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, but I think that,
You mean call it out, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let them know that this is what we're proposing.
I think that's reasonable.
The Sky Baby sign is an example of an active, that sign is for an active business.
The painter has been repainted, right?
Yeah.
The painter now no longer says Zeppelin paint, it
Yeah.
says Sky Baby.
So, I mean, there's two ways of dealing with that. One is we could say that it is simply the shape of the object itself, which is what is significant about it and how,
Well, that would have
what
to
is
be
its
in,
advertising.
that would have to be in the
Designation.
landmark designation, right?
No, I know, I'm saying, that's, so it depends on how we would choose to designate that particular piece. But if it were to be designated, I'm not saying that
Yes.
this is something that's worthy of designation, but
Yeah.
were it to be designated and were it to say Sky Baby Yoga on it, and were Sky Baby Yoga then to say, can we now add 9 square feet of additional signage to our facade
Mhm,
because
mhm.
this is now no longer counts against our signage because it's a landmark. That is the,
Implication.
yeah,
Yes.
that's just a thing that needs to be addressed.
Why don't I, rather than discussing it here, because it gets a little complicated once we get into the other parts of the demolition, why don't I simply do the revisions of those sections of the code and pass them by?
Let me send you, so you make sure you're working from the last version. Let me send it to you
It's
again.
the February 14th version, right?
I don't remember.
'Cause that's the
Probably.
one that I was
That's
looking at.
around, that's around the time. Also, I would like to, in light of discussions that we've had in the last couple of weeks, I would like to revisit that piece on demolition and tighten it.
Mhm.
Sure.
And hardship and on demolition.
Recognizing that existing, Dennis,
Mhm.
recognizing that existing applications are being reviewed under the standing ordinance.
Mhm.
This is not for current, it does not impact current applications.
Of course.
I thought the
Dennis.
Hudson thing was useful.
Huh?
What'd you say?
I said, you got that, Dennis?
Um, that's all I have. So I've started the history section. I have not finished it. I'm sorry, I'm just slammed right now. I have to finish it.
Cool. I'm going to California.
However, the
for-
great thing that you missed was my incredibly amateurish first-year planning school map that was colored
I took a
in.
photograph of it, I'll send it to you.
It was so charming.
It was cute. It was adorable.
I worked on the acknowledgements, by which I mean I crossed out a bunch of things which are irrelevant and
Excellent.
added very little.
Well, but that, you know, when I took a look at it, as far as the acknowledgements go, I mean, I'm trying to think of who we should, I think Mary would be one.
Yeah, I think that we would probably
And Jeff.
acknowledge Mary and Jeff. And then there's just this little tidbit about the photography and where the photography comes from. I think were we to, I have a couple of questions. Can we talk
Well,
about this?
but-
Do we mind talking about this?
I'd love to talk about it so it's done.
Okay, so the first 2 people that we acknowledge are 2 people from the Historical Society, Charlotte and
Charlotte Eaton, but she's no longer there.
Mint.
And the History Society, the History Museum hasn't helped with this project really.
They haven't helped with this project, but I don't know whether Stephanie and
Yeah.
Utility are going to
Get images from
request
them.
images from them. In addition to that, we do have a note acknowledging the historic photos coming from the Putnam County Historical Society and Founders School Museum, which I think we can just update to include wherever any of the historic images come, if they end up pulling images from
Yep.
either of those sources, private owners, anyway. So that's
They
that.
have super specific language that they want used for acknowledging photographs, so we need to run it by them if we do end up using their
And
photographs.
it's known as Putnam History Museum, not that whole historical society at Founders School.
Okay. So I don't think we need to acknowledge any individuals from.
Actually,
Sorry.
what we do need to acknowledge, and we can't do it, they, in preparing documents, need to tell us who they got the documents from, and that should go on the acknowledgement.
Who's talking?
Well,
Photographs, you mean?
photographs.
Oh,
are
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
they
yeah,
do
the
have
list.
this. The way that it's laid out right now is we acknowledge these 2 people from the museum as essentially contributors to the, and assets to the project. And then in addition, we have a line about photography.
I know,
Bas-
but-
which basically just says that any photography that's not individually credited was taken, all the contemporary photography was taken by the Stephen Tilley gang. All of the historic images are from the Hudson Valley.
Okay, and they need to They need to verify that that is incorrect.
Right.
That is in fact correct.
I would like to suggest to Stephanie that she additionally contact Mark Forlow, because I think the quality of images that he has are so much better.
Those are his personal collections.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, he is the town historian at this point.
The
The
town and
village
village.
and town
Yeah.
historian. And he always manages to find something good. So,
So of the original people, the only people who would remain would be Mary and Jeff.
And Glenn Watson, if he does.
And
the
Glenn
math.
Watson if he does his math. I don't know if anyone's contacted Glenn Watson to ask about the math.
No, it's all ours.
Again, there's this Chris Van Zutphen who was credited as a photographer. I don't know if that was somebody originally from Steve Tilley's team or
No,
whomever.
He was a village resident who took photographs that were used.
the
in it.
person who may end up having photographs used, you forwarded all of Jan's photographs to them. Jan Thatcher, Janthach.
THACHER. But see, again, that, we have to see,
Yeah, of course.
see if they used any of his photographs.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So in lieu of that, I think we should acknowledge the participants in our two public forums that we have.
Yep.
So I can review these. So I'll just do them right now. Homeowners I have are Kent, Lauren Hall, Peter Farrell, somebody named Gordonier.
Kathy Gordonier.
Did she actually
She submitted a
attend?
written comment.
The Myers family, Tara, and did Jen Zwart?
Jen Zwart
Zwart.
gave written comment.
She did, great. So that was with the homeowners.
And also, there was another gentleman from Stone Street, whose name escapes me right at the moment. The window guy.
Yeah, I know.
I block his name, Mark something, I think.
But we
We've
should
got
be
minutes
able
from
to
it.
get that.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you've got invitations that you
Yep.
sent out.
And then the
He came on his
professionals
own.
were Justin, Tim Brennan, James, Sean Kearney, Carney,
Okay.
Madeline Sanchez, who sent
Written,
written
yeah.
comment, and Matt Moran, who sent a written comment. Was there anyone else that showed up?
Nope, not that I recall.
So I think those would be the two people. Two
Two
group
sets of people. And then we have mayor and trustees, right?
Yeah, but they're in the other case.
Okay.
Mayor, trustees, the consultant is just listed as Stephen Tilley Architect, which I think describes the office.
Yeah,
Yes.
and if they want to add somebody, they can do it.
And the date. I've updated the date.
Super
We can
duper.
thank all of our husbands and wives for that we feel so fine. I got comments on my about copy, most of which were capitalization errors, and a misspelling of the word inspector, and also adding that we are all volunteers, which I will add.
Oh, good catch. Yeah.
Did anyone else have any comments?
I will.
Okay.
I swear to God I will. I need to get through the next week.
So then, I guess, I don't know, what's the best way of do we just want to send each of these as just RTF files or something?
Yeah.
I mean, how should we compile all of these to send over to Sophie?
I think it's fine to send them in individual pieces.
As individual files?
Yeah.
Okay.
But what I would do is send it in a Word file
Right.
as opposed to PDF.
Right. I don't have Word, but I'll send it as just a
Rich
yeah.
list, yeah.
What program do you use?
I use my notes on my iPhone. I also use InDesign.
InDesign.
And I use Pages and Gmail.
So, I don't know what June will look like, because,
Starts tomorrow.
I know.
it does. Well, so we have referrals for 126. And we've received today 31 to 35 Market. They've not put in an application. Butterfield may be ready to come back. Okay, Matt for the arch. Matt
The arch.
Moran is working with the county on the arch. not heard anything from Verizon, so I don't know what's happening with that. There is an application put in from 3 Stone Street, which is the other half of the Hartford residence, which has a different owner. Remember how it's
Furnace?
Furnace. What did I say?
Stone.
Furnace, sorry. James is aware that the building inspector transition is happening, but he would like to be on the agenda as a workshop for June. So,
For the other half of.
for the other half of, he is the architect for the other half of,
Okay.
he's working for the person who occupied
Oh.
the house.
Oh, so
Okay.
that building has changed hands? That,
His half has, the other half has,
The other-
yes.
is there any plan for us or a committee of us to meet with the now consolidated building inspector to kind of bring him up to date on our process?
I hope that there will be. I think they're trying to get their feet on the ground right now.
Yeah.
I have told Jeff that would be helpful. But I think they're trying to work out their own systems first. I mean, Jeff is working with them to try to work out systems
Could we
first.
What I would-
summon him to our next meeting?
No. What I would do is just tell them that when they feel they're ready, that we would be more
We
than
would
happy
extend an
to-
invitation.
Right.
It'd be easier to meet during the day with active files spread out. I've met, his name is Greg, right?
Mhm.
I met him once. And there's a secondary inspector / fire inspector who came down with him.
A quick question, Tom. That bill for Steve Tilley, did you give that to Mary?
It was in the inbox today. Jeff had me move it from, Mary's no longer, Mary's free. Jeff had me move it from our folder to Michelle's box, so it is in process to be paid. But it looked like
She's
it
not
ended up
free
being.
just yet. It's not Friday.
That's right. It looked like being it was the full amount. You ended up paying the full
Yeah,
amount.
I took a look at it, and I just didn't feel it was worth the effort because, realistically, we're
It's not
talking
that
about
much
knocking
difference.
it down $1,000. So,
Okay. Sorry, I'm behind on things. Did you get there?
so do I have a motion
To adjourn?
to adjourn?
Sure.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.